Hi, I am Jitendra Solanki. I am a SEBI registered investment advisor and certified financial planner. In India and across the globe, I have worked with many families. Among these, there are families who face a lot of challenges while upbringing their child. I am talking about families who have got a member with disability, families who have got a child with special needs. These families face a lot of challenges while taking care of their child. I have also written a book for these families which is titled as Financial Planning for Families Having Children with Special Needs. This is the only book written in India, and the book describes about how families who have got a special need dependent to care, how should they go about managing their finances, managing legal aspect, and how to build a secure future for their child. So today I am going to answer questions which are most asked on Google or specifically by families who have got a child with special needs. Now, how is financial planning different for a child with special needs? Now, in traditional planning, generally when you have a child, you plan about the child future till his or her marriage. So you plan about child education, child higher education, college education, and then the child marriage. Now, when you have a child with special needs, all the traditional goals remains. You want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, but when there is a child with special needs, along with traditional goals, along with traditional requirement, the unique requirement of special need child adds. So a family, a parent with a child with special needs have to plan in addition for the lifetime of the child with special needs, for the lifetime care of the child, his financial requirement, who is going to manage the child affairs. Along with traditional requirement, the unique requirement of the special need child adds. So the financial requirement for the family is much higher than a family who's traditionally planning. So financial planning for a child with special needs is all about traditional planning plus the unique requirement of the special need child. So the next question, and probably most families ask it, that when should they start planning? The goal of special need child is lifelong. They do not know when to start planning. Should they start planning now or should they start planning when the child reaches a certain age? I think for any family who have got a child with special needs, it's not about right time or it's not about when to start planning. The moment you realize that you have a child with special needs, the moment you come to know that you have a child with special needs, the planning should start. And to meet that financial requirement, they will have to accumulate more money. And to accumulate more money, either they need to contribute more or they should start early. So generally the family should start planning early. The other way to plan, or probably most of the families can think of, is plan out with the child life stages. Find out what is the timeline of your child life stages. What are the transition phases of the child you will see, you will witness. Along with these transitions, you will face many issues, financial and legal. Let's take an example that your child is moving from minority to an adult phase. A special need child, when moves from minority to an adult phase, a lot of behavior issues changes, but there are other issues which add up. For example, the legal issues would add up, the legal guardianship would add up. So in that way, along with life stages of special need child, a family can draw the timeline, find out the life stages, different life stages of their special need child. Along with these life stages, they can identify the requirement, the pressure they would face, the legal and financial issues they will address, and when they plan in this manner, at whatever life stage they are, they come to know what is that they need to address in the future. So the next question is, what is an emergency fund? Should families build one before investing? I think emergency fund is for everyone. It's for everyone. What is an emergency fund? Emergency fund is to have a corpus set aside which will be utilized if there is any emergency come. With a special need child, probably the requirement of emergency fund is a bit higher. Why I am saying so? Because in a traditional planning, an emergency fund of 4 to 6 months may be enough. But when you have a child with special needs, along with other aspects, you have to manage your special need child requirement also. So your requirement is higher. In that case, any family who have got a child with special need should maintain an emergency fund Always maintain an emergency fund, but creating an emergency fund of 9 to 12 months would be a wiser choice. The next question says, are mutual funds safe for disability focused families? There is nothing which is called as safe. Every investment will have its characteristic. There are risk and reward ratio in whatever investment option you choose. Mutual funds are the most popular investment today, simply because they have a capability to give you an investment avenue based on your time horizon. You want to invest for one day, you have a product in mutual funds. You want to invest for 5 years, you have a product in mutual funds. But is it safe for investing? I think investment means if you have done goal-based investing, if you have linked your investment to your financial goals, you will probably feel safe. Why you will feel safe? Because your investment option is chosen as per your goal requirement. And when you select any investment option as per your goal requirement, most of the people who do investing based on goals does meet their financial requirement. So it's not about mutual funds safe or unsafe. It's all about whether you have linked your investment with your goals. Can PPF or NPS be used for long-term disability? All of these are really good options. Whether you choose PPF, whether you choose NPS, whether you choose mutual fund, all of these are very good options. NPS is a very good retirement tool because you get the money when you retire at the age of 60 or 70. PPF is a very good long-term tool for investment. All of these are good investment vehicle. Your investment option will depend on what kind of an approach you take. If you are taking an asset allocation approach, probably you will find all of these investment avenues in your investment portfolio. So PPF, NPS, mutual funds, all of these are very good investment vehicles. What matters is the approach you take for your investment. If you have taken the right approach, you will find all of these in your investment portfolio at some point of time. So we talk about financials, and largely I've answered most of the questions, but financial is the only one aspect. There are many legal aspects which families have to address, and one of the important, or one of the, probably I would say the most asked question on legal aspect is about trust. What is special need trust? Why it is important? In India, we have got what we call as a private family trust. Under Indian Trust Act, we have public trust and private trust. And when we talk about creating a trust for the special need child, we are talking about a private family trust. So it's a legal arrangement between settlor, trustees and beneficiaries. So in a special need trust, your special need child is the beneficiary. One of the biggest legal hurdle is that who is going to manage the affairs after the parents. Either they can be a legal guardian, but again the question comes in, he is or she is an individual. So how do you answer the continuity of managing the child affairs? That happens in a trust. Because trust is a separate legal arrangement, once an assets are passed on to the trust, the arrangement will continue till the beneficiary is alive. So the next question is important, and it's about legal guardianship. How should they approach legal guardianship? Now when we talk about legal guardianship, there is a natural guardianship and there is a guardianship once the child turns 18. Natural guardianship, no question asked, the parents are the natural guardian. But once the child turns 18, then even the parents have to also seek legal guardianship, because in the eyes of law, once you are an adult, then nobody can take a decision on your behalf. You are capable of taking your own decisions. But if it is not so and somebody has to take a decision, then they have to get a legal guardianship certificate so that they are authorized to take the decisions on your behalf. So for a child with disability, any parent, once the child turns 18, they have to take a legal guardianship certificate. And then they have to address that who is going to be the next legal guardian after their lifetime. And that happens by parents when they write a will. So in the will, they appoint the next line of legal guardian or the next people who are going to manage the child affairs after their lifetime. But before legal guardianship, disability certificate is important. Why? Because to prove that your child has a disability, and for that you want to take legal guardianship, you need a disability certificate. So if parents do not have a disability certificate, they cannot apply for legal guardianship. Now the next question I have received is all about single parents. What about them? How should they plan when they have child with special needs? See, as a single parent, one of the important aspect is that you don't have anybody to rely on after your lifetime. So for a single parent, when they are planning for the child future, it's about planning for both you and your child. You will have to address what if there is a disability, what if the income stops, because that's the you rely upon. You will have to identify who is the next person after your lifetime. So any single parent who have got a child with special needs have to plan it a bit differently, that you do not have someone to rely upon. So you are the only one now, and when you are the only one to take care of special need child, then everything becomes important. And if any of these eventualities come in, then probably there is a structure, there is a framework who is going to take care of you and your child. So we have spoken about investment earlier also. Then we went to trust, then we went to guardianship, the legal aspect, and the next questions again comes upon investment, and it's all about risk. So the question being asked by families is, how much risk is enough when you have a dependent with special needs? It's not about how much risk is enough. It's about what is your own risk appetite, how much risk you can tolerate with your investment. That risk tolerance will decide what are the investment options you choose. Again, two aspects. One, you have to choose certain investment where you are able to beat factors like inflation and taxes, and you are able to accumulate money for your child. Second, how much volatility you can see in your investment, how much risk you can tolerate. These two factors will decide how much risk you should take when you are planning for child with special needs. Too much conservativeness is also a bigger risk. So balancing between different asset classes is a choice you have to make based on your own risk appetite. And your own risk appetite will decide that how much risk is going to enough. But risk has to be there to ensure that you are able to grow your money. So the next question is, how do I make sure my investment don't become liabilities? Now, when investment become liabilities, when you make wrong choices, when your selection of your investment is not right, it's not right as per your risk tolerance, it's not right as per your time horizon. So to ensure that your investment do not become your liabilities, three things you have to address. You decide based on your time horizon. You link all your investment with your goals. Third, stop making ad hoc investment. So when you take all these three approach, and when you choose the right asset allocation approach, which is based on your own risk tolerance, which is based on your goal horizon, which is based on your financial requirement, then your investments are assets and not liabilities. So while I am answering these questions, in the below link you can buy my book. Read in detail how to go about planning for your special need child future. How should you plan your finances? What are the legal issues you have to address? So at the below link you will find my book. Now come to the next or probably the last question, and that is what mistakes families make. First, on the financial planning. So when families are planning on their own, the financial requirement of the child is not identified. How much money you require for the child. Unless you identify that, the second mistake will happen, and that is investments. You won't be able to do the right investments. Again, on insurance, specifically health insurance, the disability is not disclosed. Now, when you do not disclose a disability, it might considered as a suppression of facts. So you might be able to get health insurance, but you may face difficulties during claim. So that's one of the biggest mistake I have found, that not disclosing the disability in health insurance. Investments are ad hoc, not right. Parents are just making investment when they are doing it on their own, thinking that this will be enough for the child future. Now when you do ad hoc investment, you do not know how much money you are going to accumulate. You end up over investing into a single asset class like real estate. Families make mistakes in thinking of that real estate might be good, rental income would be enough for the child, but that may not be the right investment approach. Then not planning properly through a good legal framework. Everything is planned in the will. Once you write a will, everything is done. No, it does not. A will may is only the starting point. There are a lot of other legal issues to be addressed. Now, when you do not review your financial plan, when you do not review your legal documents periodically, you are not able to accommodate the changes which are happening. And these changes may have financial implication or legal implication. So, when you are planning for your child future, when you are planning for your family future, ensure that you have taken a proper approach. If you do not know anything, take the professional approach. So with this, we have come to the end. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.